On the news tonight, the global community marks World Autism Day, advocates early detection for better treatment. Correspondent takes a look at how residents of the FCT are coping with heat. And a survey on prices of commodities in the market as the Ramadan commences. Hello there, good evening. Thank you for joining us on the news desk of NTA Channel 5 Abuja at 7. I am Tessie Omeri. We begin on health notes. If left untreated, autism spectrum disorder can affect the overall cognitive, emotional, social, and physical health of the affected child. Against this background, Aisha Bashir delves into the world of children with special needs and reports on the World Autism Day and its impact.
A serious developmental disorder that impairs a child's communication and social interaction skills. Autism is a condition that escapes early detection, in most cases due to lack of awareness among parents.
Children with autism that has issue with speech, I take care of their speech by constant therapy on speech for them to be able to vocalize words, like the ones that does not know how to pronounce words. We start with the letter sound.
When we call those children, we say they are special. The reason why they are special is because they require some kind of special materials to work with. They require special material to learn with. We need all of these materials.
Experts opine that if proper treatment were to be sought before the age of 3, there are better chances of recovery, even within 6 to 9 months. On the other hand, if the condition were detected at the age of 10, it may take over a year to recover. It is therefore very important that the early signs are identified and proper treatment is sought. As age increases, treatment becomes difficult.
Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects the child's ability to communicate and socialize with his environment, and at the same time makes them have repetitive, rigid behaviors that might not really be compatible in terms of what is expected of them. So basically, they appear to be different in terms of their behavior, and they have issues with speaking or communicating their needs.
Since it is not a disease, there is no medicine. Findings reveal that it is through therapy that it is effectively managed, and to yield better results, age is a crucial factor. If treatment is not started early, chances of recovery are rare.
Challenges and opportunities in the post-pandemic world. I'm so grateful that they brought out this term, because most people just don't look beyond the childhood period. We should remember that they are first and foremost children. They will become adolescents and they'll become adults. So what happens to them? So you see, after that childhood period, are we thinking about the future? Are they ever going to be independent?
2nd April is marked as World Autism Day every year globally. People celebrate this day in order to raise awareness and educate masses about autism, its signs, symptoms, and other information. It is a day to spread kindness and autism awareness. Autism is a kind of brain disorder which is characterized by differences in communication and social interaction. Aisha Bashir, NTA News.
Now, the weather has been hot and humid. Residents of Abuja and indeed most parts of the country have been experiencing extreme weather conditions characterized by profuse sweating, restlessness, and sleeplessness. Edem in this special report examines how residents of the FCT have been coping with heat this season.
Nigeria is experiencing its heat season. This season is accompanied with hot sunny days in which there is little or no amount of rainfall, with temperatures that average about 100 degrees during the day but can drop to 54 degrees at night. Research shows that extreme heat and poor air quality increase complications from heart and respiratory conditions like asthma, renal failure, and preterm birth. As temperature rises, there could be more heat-related illnesses in both urban and rural areas.
This heat season, it's something that everybody's tired of, even with the fact that there's no electricity and the price of fuel is high. You see children coming up with measles and heat rashes all over their body. And actually, the heat is something that we cannot avoid. Actually, it's very hard for us to even cope. Even while raising up your windows and everywhere, the heat coming inside is still even hot.
Muna samun matsalar zafi saboda in har za mu kwanta duk lokacin da ya zama na cewa ba wuta, so muna samun matsala sosai.
Many people say they have been finding it hard to cope. The fuel scarcity coupled with the erratic electricity power supply these days have made life a little difficult.
A few times when the rain falls, it's a bit lesser. They have to make the lighting, like electricity, more stable for us, and then they should look into the fuel price and the rest. They should just at least help us out.
Residents say they are eagerly waiting for the rainy season to set in, even as they expect government to address the electricity issue. Deborah Edem, NTA News.
And on our discussion segment on the news tonight, we are going to be discussing heat in Abuja. And to do justice to that topic, I have with me a medical practitioner from Asokoro District Hospital. She is Dr. Mimi Osanwami. You're welcome to our studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone.
Same here. We're discussing heat this evening, and you know how devastating it has been to so many. For many people, when the temperature goes up, their sleep goes down, and cognitive performance drops, and memory suffers. Tell us, how is it so difficult for people to sleep during the heat?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So one of the things that occurs during sleep, or that makes sleep difficult, is increase in the core body temperature. In fact, that's why for some people we advise them not to exercise just before they go to bed. That's for people who have trouble with sleep, you know, so that, and it's for that reason. So yes, so when the temperature goes up, the core body temperature goes up, and that makes the sleep process difficult. So that's why that happens. Yes.
Okay, you mentioned something about not exercising before going to sleep.
Just going to, for some people,
really?
for some
Okay.
people, it's people that have insomnia, have difficulty sleeping. So
okay.
if we're looking at, you know, their day, how they start their day to when they go to bed, and then the kind of food they eat and things like that. So we just check all of these things and make adjustments. I know some people will say, as soon as they exercise and they hit their period, they go to bed.
That's my thoughts too. I'll be like,
True.
okay, you're supposed to just sleep off when you have
True.
a very heavy exercise.
True, but actually it can affect your sleep.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So now, no electricity, no fuels, no so many things, and then to power the AC or the fan so that you can be able to tell us, how do you advise people to sleep?
Well, of course, if you can afford the diesel, go ahead and fill up your generator, or if you get fuel, do the same, so that you can at least have your fan on or your air conditioning on. If you're going to save your power for the best part of the day, then maybe you should do that for the night, so that you don't wake up in the morning with some form of cognitive dysfunction. That's because if you don't sleep well, when you wake up in the morning, your thinking process will definitely be impaired to some extent. Otherwise, at least keep your room sort of cool. Well, I've been thinking of whether or not you should open your windows. Then again, I'm thinking of the mosquitoes.
And then the insecurity.
Yes, exactly. So, wow, we would need them the answer to this question wouldn't just come from me. We would need logistics.
It's a difficult one, right?
Yes, we need people in other sectors to come in to see how we can, because a cool room is definitely very, very important. Of course, turning off the light will help, because the light generates heat. So of course, turning off the light would help, and if I was going to bed with light clothing would also help.
Okay, there's this saying that probably when you feed on light, maybe eat light, like vegetables, fruits, and it also helps. Can you react to that?
It also helps to
Yeah, yes.
Oh yes, okay. So that's quite right. In fact, that's why I was. That's part of the reason why we ask patients about people that have trouble with sleeping. Ask what their food pattern is. Like if they take high carbohydrates just before they go to bed, high protein and all of that, it can make sleep difficult. So you want to eat something light so that your metabolism will just be basically simple and not too much work. So yes, that is in order. Correct.
In as much as these weather changes are not like new, they occur annually, and we have the cold weather, we have the hazy and all that. So we have the heat and comes with its own attendant challenges, illnesses. And can you tell us what are those diseases associated with the heat so that people can actually watch out for?
So the major one will be heat stroke, or I should say heat exhaustion. Okay, because whether due to poor reporting, under reporting or non-reporting, we really don't have that statistics. So we don't really know how prevalent it is. But yes, it's a reality when the temperature. So the body has a way of balancing core temperature, all right. And so when the temperature goes up, the body sends messages to the hypothalamus. It's an organ in the brain, and then the brain now sends a message to the periphery, so that we can sweat and cause vasodilatation. So it's just a mechanism for us to cool ourselves. And so if that is working well, then you find out that the effect of this heat exhaustion will be minimal or almost absent, because you'll be sweating and your body is cooling itself. So that's what happens normally. But so if that is not functioning well, especially in people in the extremes of age, the elderly and the younger ones, especially the children whose body mass is more of water, and the more water they lose, they can get easily dehydrated. So the issue is this heat exhaustion and dehydration, that can give headaches, a lot of headaches. And then electrolyte imbalance. If you're sweating a lot, you would have lost a lot of electrolytes, and of course it can cause acute kidney injury, if one does not quite replenish the water and electrolytes that one gets. And then to some extent you may say diarrhea, and that's just because if you keep something in the kitchen and it will easily get spoiled, because the weather has changed and is hot. And so something that you would keep for a longer hours would not get spoiled. But when in this situation, if you just keep for like 2-3 hours, if you just go to the pot and smell it wouldn't be fresh. And of course if you eat it, you can come down with diarrhea.
Okay, looking about, you talked about heat exhaustion
Yeah.
and all that. Okay, in children, they can actually not be able to help themselves. I know an adult can just maybe fan or use cold bath
Yeah.
or something, but
Yeah.
a child, how do we protect children from this heat so that they won't be affected by any of these heat-related diseases?
So that's a very good question. So that is so this is for the parents or the caregiver to to watch a child very carefully, ensure that the child is well hydrated and wears loose, light clothing. So anything that would cause just to prevent the child from sweating a lot, just to make sure that the child is cool and is in a cool environment, not out in the sun playing, all day long.
Yeah.
And things like that. So that will go a long way in helping.
We often hear people talk about meningitis, and we don't hear like on a regular basis until when the weather is hot.
Yeah.
Is it anything related to the heat?
Okay.
Especially when you have students in the boarding house,
Yeah.
you hear of meningitis. It's peculiar or particular time of the year
Yeah.
when you experience heat.
Yeah, so it's not just the heat, and sometimes during the dry season
Okay.
and things like that. So yes, yes, it can occur during this period. So and it's usually during these seasons that we often encourage people to get the the vaccine and things like that. So staying in a well ventilated room and avoiding, crowded places will go a long way to helping as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for enlightening us on how to manage the heat and get better sleep. Like you said, if you don't sleep well, you won't be able to function well.
Yes.
Sleep is so important.
Yes.
Your final thoughts with us, like your health tips before we round up this segment.
Okay, so what I would encourage Nigerians to do, and people all over the world, at this time, drink a lot of water, and then wear loose clothing, light in terms of, it shouldn't be too thick, light in terms of color, and then loose, not too skin tight, and then drink a lot of water. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mimi, for coming on the program tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right. And that's it on the discussion segment. We thank you for watching.
NTA Channel 5 Abuja. We are everywhere in the Federal Capital Territory and beyond. From Amak, Abaji, Gogwalada, Kuje, Buari, and Kwali area councils. Stay with us, the Unity Station.
Many thanks for staying tuned. The National Homegrown School Feeding Program, which is government 70 naira per day feeding, is aimed at improving the health and educational outcome of public primary school pupils. However, some FCT residents feel the program is not living up to expectation. Ifeanyi Ezumba takes a look at activities of the Homegrown School Feeding Program under the FCT's social investment.
Homegrown School Feeding Program is a targeted social safety net that provides benefits, both educational and health-related ones, to vulnerable children. The initiative by the federal government has caused a rise in the enrollment rate of vulnerable children. However, some FCT residents feel the program has not met its target.
At the beginning of that process, it was working fine, but now I don't think it's working. But as at the time it was working, it was a very nice idea because it encouraged children to even wake up in the morning without waiting and rush to school because they know they will be fed. Most of these vendors are supposed to have been cooking for the children. Sometimes the way they're supposed to give them, they'll give them 50% of it and say, just go and relax. So the corruption is killing it.
The coordinator, FCT Homegrown School Feeding Program, Kudu Dangana, revealed that the program has significantly contributed to the attainment of food security, improved nutrition, and sustainable development goals.
We have started this program 19 November to 13 December 2019. We have the first tranche, we have the second tranche, we have the third tranche, and now we're having the fourth tranche, which started this month. We look at the program, we have the major objectives, which are 4. 1 is to increase enrollment in our primary schools. 2, to provide nutritional value for the pupils. 3, to provide agricultural productions. And also 4, to create job opportunity for people. And so since it came to being, if you see our schools, we have a lot of enrollment in our schools. The numbers have increased. So it has served its purpose. We started with 79,413 pupils. Yes. And now we're having about 97,415 pupils. We are trying very well to ensure that we live to expectation.
Target beneficiaries of the exercise are households with children in primary 1 to 3 in public schools, with emphasis on vulnerable households whose means of livelihood is based on daily income. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Ezumba, NT News.
Residents of Abuja who say Zone 3 are groaning over the perennial water scarcity. Deborah Gaza-Jimaika in this report takes a look at the situation one Sarah Paul confirmed, saying she has always depended on water vendors for her household chores on a daily basis. Water is an essential component of life and it is critical for survival. Its significance to human activities and other biological systems cannot be overemphasized. But it is unfortunate that this component of life has been scarce over time, particularly in some parts of the Abuja center, including Wuse Zone 3 area and some parts of Asokoro. This is Wuse Zone 3. Most of the tap here are connected to the boreholes that were drilled by the residents. Ijoma Sarah Paul, a resident of Wuse Zone 3, is worried that the lingering water situation is unabated, despite reported cases to the FCT Water Board.
On daily basis, we buy water. Now, the problem is not only buying that water. When will you see the Merowa to bring the water for you? Sometimes you call these barrow boys that do hog the water. You may call one, you say another person have called me. It may take up to an hour or two. You cannot run a home effectively without water.
The story is not different in some parts of Asokoro in the FCT.
A pint of water is sold here for 20 naira. At times, even getting water served in the day is very hard.
I stay for this Asokoro for 4 years now. Now the stuff now the thing where we the first with that.
For Abubakar Umar, who has stayed in Wuse Zone 3 for 15 years and into car wash business, he describes the situation as unpalatable considering the harsh weather.
I found water now. Most of the water you see now buffalo. No, some houses they have a water tap, but the water will come around that kind of 9, 10 in the night, and sometimes on the weekend. It's not always in the weekend. Each one car will sell about 300 to 400 naira of water to wash one car.
Efforts to get across to the FCT water boards to find out reasons why the residents are not enjoying public water supply like other places in the FCT proved abortive. Deborah Gazaji, Micah, NTA News. And as Muslim faithful commence the Ramadan fast, Aisha Abdullahi takes survey of some commodities in Wuse market in the nation's capital and files this report.
Ramadan is the 6th Islamic month which Muslim faithful are expected to observe a fast of 29 or 30 days. Depending on the day, the moon was sighted. Owing to that, some of them visited the market to stock up foodstuff ahead of time. Although most of the buyers say there hasn't really been a hike in food prices compared with the last time they brought things. Others say there is increase like festive seasons.
The price of things in the market is getting higher compared like to before because there is changes. Yes.
They go higher. Like something you buy 3,000, next week you come it's 3,500 and they'll be like, when you ask they'll be like, that was then.
Anyway, I don't think it's because of Ramadan because it has been, the price of things has been increasing.
Some shop owners give prices of their goods and lament low patronage, attributing it to price increase in transportation.
Price model is 1,200. The white rice is 1,000. People don't take and buy small, 1,100. Retail, you know they buy like carton now.
Both buyers and sellers are hopeful that the economy will bounce back. Aisha Abdullahi, NTA News.
And now to the world of sports. After beating Egypt to pick the 2022 World Cup ticket, Senegal have been placed in Group A alongside host Qatar, Holland and Ecuador, while Super Eagles arch rivals Ghana in Group H, and it faced Portugal, Uruguay and Korea Republic. Details of these and more on Sports Brief with Miriam Amadi.
The World Cup draw is done and the first match will feature Qatar and Ecuador on November 21, 2022. The draw commenced and all 32 teams were shared into 8 Group A to H, with Europe being only continent to feature 2 countries in the same group. Brazil have won the World Cup 5 times and never missed any edition, ranking #1 team by FIFA. Only 13 countries have made it to the final of 21 editions since 1930. In tennis, world #2 Daniil Medvedev is out for the French Open after revealing he will have surgery on a hernia. The 26-year-old Russian says he will likely be out for the next 1 or 2 months. With Sports Brief, Miriam Amadi, NTA News.
And before we go, do remember to take your COVID-19 vaccine and adhere strictly to safety protocols to keep safe. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.